Great rising, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Today is October the 11th. I'm going to start putting a date stamp on these videos, just for my own purposes. But today is October the 11th, Sunday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Wow. Great awakening, grand rising, everyone. Oh goodness. It's been a minute. Not really a minute, maybe a half a minute. Just sitting here collecting my thoughts and allowing things to just kind of come to me from a natural stance so that I can share it with you guys. And something that has been replaying in my mind over and over and over again, that is of some significance, value to me, that resonates with me. I'm about to share with you guys right now. It's not going to be long. This is going to be more of what I want to say for you guys to do y'all homework. But the homework is not going to be just research alone. It's going to be something that resonates with you. And I want to say the way that it resonated with me, because it is something that has to really make sense with your being when you do the research. I have things that I love to say that just drops in my lap. It just drops in my lap. And as soon as it dropped in my lap, it took me to the comic. I don't know if it's a DC comic. I don't know which one it comes out of, which comic franchise it comes from. But it's Wonder Woman, The Wonders of a Woman. And after I had gotten this information and was listening to it, shout out to Ashura Star Goddess, I just was like, wow. And things just started to like just fall in alignment with my natural sense of knowing. And I was like, wow, that's the truth. It was a truth that resonated with me. So I'm gonna call this video The Wonders of a Woman, Wonder Woman, right? And this is going to take you to do your research, to gather the information that you need to do a resonance within yourself, within your being. And I just want to say, the part that I'm not getting is like, how did it get to this part? Because I understand everything from a frequency perspective, and I do get that at a frequency perspective. There was a lowering in frequency that came upon this earth, that changed the dynamics, that created a sense of duality, like almost say the polar opposites. And once the frequency comes back to a higher frequency, everything is going to go back to its original stance, right? Where the dualities is not going to be a more physical thing. It's going to be more of a command if a person wants to manifest those things into their reality, right? Oneness means a lot of things. A lot of times when we look at the oneness of ourselves, what happens is that the oneness of ourselves is going to create the oneness of this planetary system, right? So it's bigger than ourselves, but it starts with us. You know what I'm saying? Because now we have to come back to the oneness of ourselves. And then when we become back to the oneness of ourselves individually, we become back to the oneness of ourselves collectively, which creates a frequency, which raise the frequency of this earth, which the earth raises the frequency as being a part of this planetary system, or, so on and so forth, till that the oneness comes back to the one, right? So it's just interesting to really start to get into the mindset of creation, because when you get into this God mentality of creation with understanding, right, or overstanding, it makes a different sense to you. I said the Wonder Woman of this ideal, right, comes back into the part of if it becomes, well, like I said, you know, the oneness of self, the oneness of the collective raising the frequency, in addition to the frequency that is coming, you know, from the sun, raises the earth in frequency, changes the dynamic of the earth's frequency, that will then affect the planetary system, so on and so forth. What does that entail? And it dropped in my lap like the other day, and I was like, oh my goodness, about the wonders of a woman. And what I'm gonna say about the wonders of the woman, you know, Mother Earth, Gaia, all of these different things, creation. These are the key words that I want you guys to take, you know, key points for, because these are the things that are going to help you get the understanding of what it is that this video is talking about, because this is definitely something that has to resonate with you, right? And not all knowledge is, you know, about a book, but I will say from what I'm gathering in terms of scientifically, it has some merit from a scientific perspective. You just have to look it up. But I'm just going to get to just the thrust of things, and I'm going to compare it to the visuals of Wonder Woman. If you remember in the movie, the most recent movie of Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman was an island of all women. And these women were, how can I say, they were warriors, they taught, and they in turn had children or offsprings with the gods. So you would want in turn to say, okay, well, if they had children and offsprings with the gods, and you know you didn't visibly see the gods, but you did see this island full of women, you know, how did this take place? Because our understanding of procreation is a little bit different, that you need the man, you need, you know, the sperm, you need the ovum, and they had to unite in different things or what have you. Well, the gods were within them, right? And they manifested each other just by thought, right, of what it is that they wanted, because they were in union with the God side of themselves, to create whatever it was that they wanted to create by just thought and thought alone, right? So it tends to make you wonder. No, that's why they say Wonder Woman, right? It tends to make you wonder, like, how did that happen? So in the essence of what this movie is representing itself to be, although they had to kind of veer to the left a little bit to make it make more sense without it causing a bit of controversy. Because the thing of it is that what you have to realize is that everything that's in a comic book is actually speaking truth to you, right? But they could not put it in a sense of real term. They had to make it fictional, right, in order to present the truth. You know, they had to make it fictional to make you think it's fictional in order to present the truth. So that's another thing. So when you go back into some of these DC comics, and I can't think of the name of the other comics, but when you go back into these comics, that was supposed to be some type of fantasy, or, you know, some type of fictional character and stuff like that. That was the only way that they could actually reveal the truth, is to present it as something that you could not believe in, that it was fictional in nature. When in actual reality, there is some significance and truth from a frequency perspective that was trying to be conveyed in those illustrations, right? So if you ever go back and look at the movie Wonder Woman, The Wonders of a Woman, it'll tell you that the woman is actually, or the divine feminine is actually the goddess or the gods or what have you. And when you look at another movie that I want to make reference to is Hancock. That's the Will Smith movie, which Charlize Theron, I can't never pronounce her name correctly, but if you look at that movie, there are hints and indications in that movie that tells you that she is more powerful. She has more power than Hancock. So there are a lot of subtle things in there to give us an inclination of what really the truth really is. It's not necessarily, and it's presented in a fictional sense of understanding, because that's the only way, because it's this whole thing is about frequency, and they'll give a lot of things pass if you label it a certain way. And if you're not awakened within yourself to be able to feel the resonance of what that, even if that thing say, okay, this is fictional, they know that there's going to be something that resonates within you, or you're going to be drawn to it for a reason. And then when you do get when the light bulb does come on, you're like, oh, that's why I was so drawn. And now I understand why I was drawn to Hancock. Now I understand why I was drawn to Wonder Woman. Right? Now I understand why I was drawn to Superman, right? Because it was the truth. There was a resonance, a frequency, right? Even though they labeled it as something, to say that this is fictional and everything, but the truth does not lie. The resonance of a frequency never lies, because frequency is everything. Frequency is all. And if you look at what the title of it says, The Wonders of a Woman, right? The reason why it's titled The Wonders of a Woman, because what's going on right now, right? It makes you wonder, like, what the woman really truly represents. Because if we really knew what the divine feminine energy really is and how powerful it really is, it'll change the course and the dynamics of this existence. And from what I've gathered that has dropped in my lap, it will eliminate basically a lot of low vibrational things. And I'm not going to label anybody right now, because the thing of it is what it is, and it will present itself to be eventually what it is. But the one thing that the divine feminine energy must realize is that we are the power. We are the Almighty. We are the creation. We are the creators. Everything about us is the energy, is the power, is the essence, is the creation. And in your divine feminine and energy. And if this sounds foreign to you, it's because you just simply have to just raise your frequency, or allow the frequency that really resonates within your being to illuminate. And you have to, get rid of the lower frequency sense of understanding, the dogmas that has kind of somewhat just, disabled us in such a drastic way from a frequency perspective. You have to slowly and gradually rid yourself of those low frequency things. I said in my videos, most of my videos, including my lives in the group, I said, now I see everything from a frequency perspective. And once you start seeing things and informations and people and all of these things from a frequency perspective, it truly changed the dynamics of how you understand certain things. And that's just the way that it is. I mean, like I said, it's a resonance thing, it's a frequency thing, because you have to understand that a lot of truth is in disguise for a reason. And the only way that you're going to be able to recognize what it is through a frequency perspective and a resonance of that frequency of what the truth really presents itself to be at that time being discovered. That's the bottom line. And when you get that information, and when that information does reside, everything will just start to make sense, and you'll be like, oh, that's why I was drawn to this. Oh, that's why I was drawn to that. Oh, that's why. It just was like everything will just start checkpoint. You'll just start checking off stuff like, oh, this is why this was that. This is why I felt this way. This is why. You'll just start going into all of those things. But I'm presented in a different way, because the way that I understand it, it's through these visuals, because I'm a very aesthetic person, visual person, in terms of just beauty and presentation from a visual perspective. So my sense of understanding and many different things come from a visual perspective, and I can see a lot of things within a lot of things, so I'm just going to this is my point of reference for you to really take a look at some of these you know, DC characters, or these, I can't think of the name of that other franchise that does comics, you know, but the truth is in plain sight. You know, you just have to be at the frequency level to really be able to grasp the true understanding of what it represents itself to be. And it's out there. It is definitely out there. And just know that it's a beautiful thing. The one thing that I will say is that not all is lost, because the divine feminine, this is why, listen to me careful. A lot of people might say, well, Patrice, how you say all women is the power and this and that, or what have you, and this and that. And so what about the men? Well, men, you guys are okay too, because in order for you to be a man, you had to be a woman first. And that's conceptualized in the womb, right? So you're not left out, right? It's just that you just have a longer process of reverse evolution to go back to get to your oneness. But eventually, coming back to the sense of oneness in that respect will evolve, because even in the womb, all creatures, all entities, whatever you want to call it, creations, start off as feminine energy, feminine frequency, right? All creatures starts off as feminine energy, and it develops as progression into terms of what frequency it's going to support the progression of it, right? And if you by chance end up getting a lower frequency, which is the XY chromosome, right? In order to create, if the lower frequency actually comes in, when that part decides to take activation, then you become male. But the divine feminine, which is unchained with change, which is XX, then there's no change in that. If you can accomplish getting to a divine feminine energy, then you are the bomb.com. This is by choice anyway. This is the God creation of your consciousness that decided that your consciousness sometimes does not allow you. So a lot of times what happens when you see a man is still a man, they're going into their evolutionary process to come back to their original stance, right? And it will happen, you know, through whatever they decide to do, their incarnations or whatever the case may be. But it will eventually happen, right? Because as was mentioned to me in the video, you know, there are more women being born than men, right? So there you go. All right, so peace and love, everybody. This is a little bit long. I wasn't trying to make it so long, but I truly hope that you guys get the concept. And if you don't really understand what I'm saying, look at some of the stuff that I've actually put out to you that is in cinema, that will place you at, it'll start you off at least, right? And then you'll get it. All right, so hopefully. All right, so peace and love you guys. Happy Sunday. I'm here at the beach. It's a beautiful day in Zamunda, and I am so grateful and so humble, and I'm so thankful. I am who I am that I am, and I love you guys. And if you like the contents of this video, please click like. If you love the contents of this channel, you know, please subscribe. And if you have something to add to or take away from, each one teaches one. We are all here to evolve. And there's no right or wrong. We just know, you know, in reading some of the comments, we just know where you are at a conscious level. For those who are, you know, a little bit more ahead of the game. All right, so love you, and I shall commence to talking with you guys later. Bye.